Bonnie Blue was once one of the most controversial rising figures on the internet, known for pushing boundaries, challenging norms, and constantly living at the edge of acceptable content. She built a brand on spectacle. But in 2025, that brand began to collapse. One decision at a time, one stunt after another. Bonnie Blue turned public intrigue into public disgust. The stunts got bolder, the backlash got louder, and eventually the platforms, the fans, and the brands began to walk away. This is the full story of how Bonnie Blue's career collapsed, why it happened, how it happened, and why there's no coming back. Every influencer lives and dies by one thing: brand safety. It's what determines who they work with, what platforms support them, and how long their career lasts. And in 2025, Bonnie Blue officially became the opposite of brand safe. When Bonnie Blue teased the potential collaboration with Andrew Tate, the internet didn't react with excitement, it reacted with outrage. Have some self-respect. Lost all the respect for now, Bonnie. Surely AI. What the is this? Before this, I respected your success, but you, Bonnie, you lost me there. At first, the pairing seemed almost inevitable. Bonnie and Tate both made their careers off controversy, both are polarizing, both are banned from platforms, and both thrive on the kind of attention that most creators fear. But while they might share a similar audience, the costs of that collaboration far outweighed any potential gains. Andrew Tate is one of the most divisive public figures of the digital age, with ongoing legal cases surrounding human trafficking, allegations of misogyny, and a toxic online presence. His name alone has become synonymous with controversy. Any creator who aligns themselves with him risks inheriting his baggage. And for Bonnie, whose brand was already in decline, this wasn't an amplification of power. It was a confirmation of recklessness. Audiences weren't inspired. They were disgusted. Memes emerged describing the duo as the prom king and queen of degeneracy. Online threads speculated about how long it would take for the last of Bonnie's sponsors to abandon her. The few defenders she had left were drowned out by a wave of criticism. In a digital age where collaboration is currency, Bonnie's choice of partner didn't elevate her status, it destroyed her remaining credibility. Platforms that were still tolerating her content began to reevaluate. Brands already on the fence finally said no, and fans who once saw her as edgy began to see her as dangerous. Bonnie didn't just choose the wrong collaborator. She chose to broadcast to the world that she no longer cared about the consequences. And when a creator stops caring about perception, the audience stops caring too. This moment marked the start of the final chapter, a signal that Bonnie Blue wasn't just controversial anymore, she was untouchable. For years, Bonnie Blue's most valuable asset wasn't her content, it was her access. Specifically, her access to OnlyFans. It was the platform where she built her income, her following, and her notoriety. And in 2025, that platform took everything away. OnlyFans permanently banned Bonnie Blue. Even OnlyFans said enough is enough. She was doing $600K a month. Gone. The reason? Repeated and escalating violations of its acceptable use policy. What tipped the scale wasn't just one video or a single event, it was a pattern of extreme behavior that crossed legal and ethical lines. The most disturbing incident came in the form of a proposed stunt known online as the petting zoo. Bonnie announced plans to lock herself inside a transparent box for 24 hours, naked and restrained, while strangers would be allowed to perform sexual acts on her in public view. The backlash was immediate. Critics labeled the concept as exploitative, predatory, and promoting rape culture. And that wasn't the only incident. Bonnie also bragged about participating in a 1,057-man group encounter over a 12-hour span. The legitimacy of the claim was widely questioned, but the message was loud and clear. Bonnie wasn't pushing boundaries anymore. She was detonating them. For OnlyFans, a platform that already allows highly explicit content, banning someone isn't routine. It's reserved for cases where creators become a direct liability. Bonnie had reached that point. Her content had begun attracting negative attention from regulators, press, and advocacy groups. And for OnlyFans, keeping her on the platform no longer made financial sense. The ban wasn't temporary. There were no appeals. Bonnie's account was removed permanently, along with her subscriber base, income stream, and credibility as a professional creator. This wasn't a policy issue, it was a statement. And it said very clearly, the lies that broke her brand. As her content became more extreme, Bonnie began to rely less on reality and more on illusion. In 2025, she faked 2 major life events, both of which sparked controversy. It was the revelation that they were lies that truly destroyed her brand. The first was a staged pregnancy. Bonnie began posting cryptic references to cravings, growth, and the next chapter. Fans and tabloids speculated. Was Bonnie Blue pregnant? Was she starting a family? Weeks later, she admitted it was all a lie. The pregnancy never happened. Instead, she claimed it was a performance art piece to raise money for someone else's IVF treatment. But the audience didn't see a performance, they saw manipulation. It felt like manipulation, not art. Sick of the PR stunts. The second incident was even more severe. Bonnie posted a dramatic video of her being arrested by uniformed officers. The scene was tense. She was handcuffed, escorted into a police car, and driven away. The video went viral almost immediately. Locked or not, she needs to go away. She deserves to be on the offenders register. Hang yourself. But internet sleuths quickly noticed something was off. The car's license plate was civilian. The uniforms weren't regulation. The procedures didn't match real protocol. Within hours, it was revealed the arrest was completely staged. No crime, no charges, no police. Just another stunt. The damage was irreversible. Audiences don't like being lied to, especially not by creators who sell themselves as authentic. For Bonnie, these fabrications didn't just damage her credibility, they shattered it. Every future post, every statement, every announcement was now viewed through the lens of skepticism. She wasn't a creator anymore. She was a performer trapped in her own fiction, and no one was buying it. In early 2025, a rumor began spreading across Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok, one that would quietly spiral into one of the most controversial chapters of Bonnie Blue's career. The claim, Bonnie Blue, the adult content creator known for pushing every conceivable boundary, was allegedly transgender. No proof, no confirmation, just a single spark on a comment thread, and the fire spread instantly. She's not even a real woman. Did you see the old photos? That's a man. Bonnie Blue equals Tom? I've heard that too. Rather than deny the claim, Bonnie responded with a cryptic joke. I read that too. Apparently my name was Tom. But in a world where identity is closely scrutinized, especially in online spaces, ambiguity is dangerous. What some read as sarcasm, others interpreted as admission. And in the silence that followed, fans were left to speculate. Why not just say the truth? Definitely a man. I've always had unsettling feelings when I see Bonnie. Now it makes sense. The more I watch at Bonnie's face, the more I see a man. Creators are no strangers to speculation. But in Bonnie's case, the transgender rumor hit differently. It wasn't just about curiosity, it became about trust. Audiences began to question not just who she was, but whether anything she presented had ever been real. This wasn't about gender, it was about deception. The belief that her entire persona might have been a character, another illusion in a long line of carefully crafted narratives. As the rumor gained traction, something else began to happen. Engagement dropped, follower counts stagnated, fan pages went dark. The silence became louder than any scandal she'd created. One of the most controversial aspects of Bonnie Blue's rise was how she chose to build her content, and more specifically, who she built it around. Bonnie became known for targeting newly legal adults, specifically 18 to 19-year-old university students. She hosted events during Freshers Week, recruiting students to participate in adult content. She also actively involved married men and in some cases professors and university staff. At first, it was framed as part of her brand, bold, taboo, subversive. But over time, the public began to see it differently. Critics accused Bonnie of exploiting power dynamics, that her targeting barely legal students wasn't edgy, it was calculated, that her use of married men was less about rebellion and more about control, and that her relationship to authority figures in academic settings pushed dangerously close to predatory behavior. This is not edgy, this is creepy. Consent, ethics, she doesn't seem to care. As the accusations grew, so did the scrutiny. Former fans began posting testimonials, university groups issued warnings, and conversations around consent, age, and influence began to dominate discussions about her brand. This wasn't just backlash, this was a reputational crisis. In a cultural landscape that is increasingly sensitive to power imbalance and manipulation, Bonnie's actions didn't just seem inappropriate, they seemed dangerous. What once felt like controlled chaos now looked like targeted exploitation. And once that line is crossed, there is no going back. Bonnie Blue's career didn't end because of one moment, it ended because of dozens. Each scandal, each fabrication, each decision chipped away at the foundation of her brand. until there was nothing left but spectacle. No credibility, no audience trust, no platform support. She built a career on controversy, but controversy only works when it's backed by substance, and Bonnie Blue had none left. The platforms banned her, the brands walked away, and the audience finally saw through the illusion. Bonnie Blue's career wasn't just damaged, it was erased, not by censorship, but by consequence. Congratulations, you have made it all the way here. Now subscribe to complete all.